Listening Library presents Jessie, Books 1 through 3, New Nanny, Crush Crazy, and Livin' the Life. Adapted by Lexi Ryals. Read for you by Rachel L. Jacobs.
New Nanny. Part 1. Chapter 1. Jessie stared out the window of the cab at the skyscrapers, hot dog stands, and subway entrances of New York City, which all whizzed by at an alarming speed as she chatted with her cab driver. She was so excited, she thought she might hurl. Or maybe that was just due to the way the cab kept making sharp turns and screeching to a stop at red lights. So then my dad, who's in the Marine Corps, practically blew his flat top when I said I was moving to New York. But he chilled when I told him I had a great job, Jessie explained. The cabbie had just asked her where she wanted to go, but somehow she'd ended up telling him her entire life story. Hey, Jessie thought. Maybe he knows someone who's hiring. He did meet people all day, every day, right? Do you know where I could find a great job? Jessie asked eagerly. But instead of answering her, the cab driver rolled his eyes and slammed shut the plastic divider that separated the front and back seats. Alrighty, someone needs some alone time, Jessie muttered, flipping her long brown hair over her shoulder and taking a sip of her coffee. Back in Texas, that sort of rejection would have hurt her feelings. But nothing could get her down today. Suddenly, the cab swerved around a corner, nearly taking out an old lady crossing the street with her 6 dogs. Jessie slid down the bench seat and her coffee was knocked right out of her hand. She watched in horror as it landed in her purse. Oh no, she wailed, grabbing it. But it was too late. There was coffee everywhere. Jessie snatched up her phone, lip gloss, and map and hurried to dry them off on her t-shirt. Then she groped in her purse for her wallet. The last thing she needed right now was soggy money. But after a moment of searching, she realized that her wallet wasn't there. How could her wallet not be there? She'd just had it at the airport. How was she going to pay for her hotel? Or food? Or the cab ride? Jessie glanced up at the meter. She already owed $22.50. She took a deep breath and tried not to panic. She was a New Yorker now. She could totally handle this. This must happen a lot. The cab driver would understand, right? She knocked on the plastic divider and then pulled the little door open. I'm having a little problem. My wallet is missing, so I don't have any money for the cab ride. I don't suppose I could pay you in lip gloss and breath mints? Jessie asked hopefully. They're wintergreen. The driver turned and glared at her, and then slammed on the brakes. Jessie pitched forward as the cab came to a halt, her cheek pressed against the plastic divider. Get out of my cab, the driver roared at her. Okay, just give me a second to gather my things, Jessie said meekly, trying to wipe her cheek print from the divider. Now, the driver yelled. Before Jessie knew what was happening, he'd yanked her out of the car and left her standing on the sidewalk in front of a fancy apartment building. Ow! That was rude, Jessie exclaimed. The cab driver definitely did not understand her predicament. Suddenly, Jessie's suitcase came flying through the air. It landed on the sidewalk next to her and popped open. Jessie's clothes were scattered everywhere. There was even a cardigan draped over a nearby fire hydrant. Hey! Jessie yelled, her brown eyes wide. She was really angry now. Then she immediately ducked as the driver chucked her purse at her. It slammed into the building behind her and slid to the ground. "Ha ha, you missed me," Jessie taunted. But as she bent to pick up her purse, the driver threw her coffee cup at her, and it hit her right in the head. She fell to the ground and lay there groaning. A sidewalk full of people had just seen her get thrown out of a cab and knocked down by her own coffee cup. And now she was blocking the door of a seriously upscale apartment building. She'd been in New York for a grand total of 20 minutes, and she was already feeling like a total failure. Luckily, there was nowhere to go but up. As Jessie stood and started to gather her things, a handsome doorman about her age rushed over to help her. He was wearing a green and gold uniform that matched the awning above the fancy apartment building's door. "Whoa, you must be a really bad tipper," the boy said. "I'm Tony." "I'm Jessie," she replied as she shook his hand. He was kind of cute with his dark, messy hair, blue eyes, and soft tan. A pretty little girl wearing a pink skirt and a sparkly t-shirt walked out the door of the building. She picked up one of Jessie's bras from the ground and brought it over to Jessie and Tony. "I'm guessing this is yours?" the girl asked, handing the bra to Jessie. "Yes, thank you," Jessie said, blushing. "That's just my, slingshot." She wasn't about to tell an innocent little girl what it really was. "She doesn't know it's a bra," the girl said to Tony, giggling. Jessie turned red and muttered, "Well, aren't you precocious?" "Jessie, this is Zuri Ross. She lives in the building," Tony said. Jessie bent down to shake the girl's hand. "Nice to meet you, Zuri." Just then, a frazzled-looking woman carrying a suitcase came out of the building screaming and ran down the street. "Bye, Nanny, whatever your name was," Zuri said cheerfully, waving at the screaming woman's back. Tony shook his head and turned to Zuri. "Looks like you need a new nanny. Again." "That was your nanny?" Jessie asked. "Yep, she was cuckoo, cuckoo." Zuri nodded. "Hey, Jessie, you want the gig?" "Thank you, but I didn't come all the way from Twitty, Texas to be a babysitter," Jessie explained. She shoved her stuff back into her suitcase and zipped it closed. "I came to New York to follow my dreams. 'Cause this is where dreams come true." "Right," Zuri replied, dragging Jessie into the lobby behind her. "Until then, I like my grilled cheese cut in triangles and my tutus starched." Chapter 2. Zuri pulled Jessie straight into the elevator. Jessie barely managed to pull her suitcase inside before the doors closed on it. Zuri pressed a button marked P, and the elevator zoomed up to the penthouse of the high-rise. When the doors swung open, Jessie's mouth dropped open in awe. Zuri's penthouse was the coolest thing she'd ever seen. It was huge, with marble floors, sweeping views of Central Park, and an elegant staircase leading up to a second story. And that was just the living room. "OMG, and I thought Texas was big," Jessie exclaimed. "This is huge and beautiful." Zuri let go of Jessie's hand and ran over to a portly man in a stuffy suit. He was dusting a vase on a pedestal. "Look, Bertram, I found a new nanny in the street. Can we keep her?" Zuri asked pleadingly. "If she doesn't poop on the floor, it's fine with me," Bertram answered in a monotone voice. "Wait, don't you want to ask me any questions?" Jessie asked. "Do you poop on the floor?" he asked Jessie in the same monotone voice. "No," Jessie said. "Of course not."
Congratulations, you've made the first cut. Wait here and the...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?